AS
$700,000
line item, okay, give or take 50 grand. And I asked a question about how this rate was established. And all three of you, none of you knew how it was established. So, as I told you then, I had called North Conway and hadn't got a call back, so I called the head person down in Concord and got her. And the way it's established is that the amount of money to be collected from the counties is in House Bill 1, the budget bill. And then each one of the counties they all meet together and decide how that's going to be apportioned over the counties. So I asked her who was at the meeting.
Yeah, who does that?
Well, would you like to know who was at the meeting?
Yes.
Yeah.
Commissioner Solomon, Commissioner Sorensen, Commissioner Kenny, and Kathy Garrett. Now, why
did meeting?
That's what she told me. At the meeting where they decide what county is going to get charged how much. That's a direct quote. She said all four of those people were there. They were on a list.
I can tell you what, that was at that meeting is when they explained how it was. We weren't part of when they made the decision. That's when we went to Concord and the Association of Counties spoke and they explained how it's. We didn't make any decision. Right.
The state makes the decision.
The state makes the decision. And that's what they basically said. And they talked about that other outstanding possibility for the future of future debt that the state has.
So you're telling me that the figures are already established, Kath, when you get there?
Yeah, they know.
Well, she'll get a call back this afternoon and I'll find out what's going on. Because that's what she told me. She said you four were there when it was figured out and the counties worked together. Okay.
When it was explained as to how they do it.
Okay, I'll call her back. Thank you very much.
We don't set the rate, the state does.
Yeah, no input in that.
No. Anybody else got any questions? Yes, Mr. Brown.
Did we come up with the money for the truck yet?
No.
Did we order the truck yet?
Yes. It should be delivered in 2 weeks, right, Will?
I don't have an exact time frame yet.
Approximately 2 weeks, so we have 2 weeks to come up with the money?
What's going to happen is the delegation said to take it out of the budget. We don't know where there's going to be money left over. We know there's going to be money left over, and when we find out where that is, then we'll take it out of that. There'll be money left over in the year 2011 budget.
But how is that going to work with coinciding with when the truck comes in?
We'll pay the bill. It's just a matter of where we're going, what areas we're going to take it from.
So you'll have the money by the time the truck comes in?
The money, the truck will be paid for when the truck is delivered. Okay? Anybody else for public input? Do we have, let's keep the minutes.
Let's do the June.
Okay. We'll keep the minutes until after the meeting so some of you people can get back to work. Here's our budget. We've had so many copies, so many changes in our budget, and we have to have this in this afternoon finalized. We've had subcommittees with the jail, and we had subcommittees with the meetings with the nursing home. Those budgets are fairly well along. There still may be some changes. The last figure I have, the bottom line, as of this morning, our expenses were up 5.1%. You all know that the delegation suggested that our expenses be at 1%. Now, if we take that 5.1% and we take the revenue, subtract the revenue from that different agencies have brought in, that's the figure that we look at as far as comparing it to the 1%. Now, the commissioners will have to look at everybody's budget and try to reduce it or whatever to get down to that 1%. If we don't, then the delegation will do it for us. So that's a decision that the three commissioners will have to do later on. So you know what the bottom line is? It's 5.1% total for the whole complex. Some budgets are up, some budgets are down. I won't say that some of the budgets will go down if you put in for raises for employees at the county level. The recommendation from the commissioners is that everybody gets a 30-cent per hour increase. 30 cents. Okay, that's around 1%, maybe a little bit over 1% if you base it on a 14 or 15 per hour wage. Okay, that's going to be our recommendation. Now the delegation may change it, they may go down, they may go up. We don't know what's going to happen to that.
Hold on a minute, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
You said the 5.1 was before the revenue was
That's right.
extracted or after?
Before.
Okay, thank you.
So it's going to be less than 5.1% when we take the revenue out.
Do you know what the revenue number would be?
What is?
When you add the revenue, what the number is?
Kathy, you got it handy?
Yeah, the increased revenue is 860,000.
And so what does that do to the percentage?
It cuts it,
We're 458,000 roughly,
so it's like 1.8.
1.8%.
Is the increase? Okay.
Okay, moving along. There was a policy in effect that county employees would receive a reimbursement for a clothing allowance. It came as a result of the union contracts. The previous Board of Commissioners approved a $125 clothing allowance for all county employees. It's not fair. Some people are not putting in for it, even though they could. Some people are putting in for it that probably shouldn't. The commissioners have agreed that all non-union employees, that they are not reimbursed the $125 unless they are required to wear a uniform of some type. If they're in civilian clothes, they don't get reimbursed. If they have to be in a uniform, then they would get reimbursed, okay? We want to clear that up, and that's going to be in effect the 1st of January. Right now, we have no union contracts with the nursing home or the jail. Our next meeting there is going to be like on the 8th of December. I tried to convince them, I'm the negotiator for the county, I tried to convince them that if we got our contracts in early enough, it could be put into our budget, and we would know exactly what our budget would be. Since they didn't do that, we still, after we negotiate and come up with an agreement, we'll still have to support that, but it's more difficult to do it when we have outside of our budget. It's looked at, I think, differently as far as the union contract is concerned. There are many changes that we're looking at in the union contracts, both in the jail and the nursing home. With the Sheriff's Department, the union contract is in effect until next year. Annual report, yes.
I have a question. I want to clarify, when you're saying all county employees have a clothing allowance, now it's down to all that wear a uniform, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And then when you're talking labor negotiations, you're saying county employees across the board, 30 cents an hour.
Right.
When you get into negotiations, these people get other perks that other departments don't get through their union contracts. And I think it's unfair for you to put a straight line across everything.
Okay.
I, for one, am really tired of trying to work in an atmosphere where I put in for something, it gets cut supposedly enough to cover the insurance and other things that have gone up, and it doesn't. Their pay has gone down 2 years straight. So I asked for a decent raise of 50 cents, and you're going to tell me you're going to cut it from 20. And then I'd also have another question about another perk. I would like somebody, for once and for all, to straighten out who is eligible for lunch, okay?
Okay.
My employees were told by the delegation 3 years ago, or maybe it was 4, there is no one to get free lunch, you buy it. and I see people coming and going, and my staff is not, again, if there's some things that need to be leveled here, okay?
I will agree with that on the lunch.
And I think when you're talking about departments who don't have any labor negotiations on their behalf, that there should be some leeway being able to compensate these people for their efforts. They don't, they have to wear clothes to work. It gets wear and tear. I mean, it's not like, you know, the jail or the nursing home, and we go along with that. But at some point, you've got to say, okay, you know, you've got to be a little kinder.
Okay, thank you. You have an opportunity to talk with the delegation about any changes that you're not happy with, that the commissioners have done. So that's the time to bring it up, okay? But I appreciate your input. For everybody's information, I think you may already know this, that the commissioners passed a policy that if any department anticipates going over $1,000 within a line, that they come to the commissioners with a reason for it going over, and that it would be transferred out of another line item within that department. So if it's anticipated that you're going to go over a line within your department, over $1,000, you need to come back and talk with us, okay? That was a bill that was presented in Concord. I tried to offset that and get it back to the local level so that we can approve it versus the delegation have to approve it. Anytime a line item changes, if that bill passes, then we got to go to the delegation to transfer any money from one line item to another. Right now, if we go in a department like the county attorney needs money, we have to go to the delegation to get it out of dietary or out of the nursing home. Okay, any transfer of money that way. The law says you may be required, the delegation makes that a requirement, has in the past. Okay. Okay, I think I mentioned the annual reports. Due to 31st of January, all department heads that have to submit a report would like to have it in our office by the 31st of January. I know we're not going to have our budgets completed by then because they don't close out until sometime in the middle of February, correct, Kathy? But in the auditing, we're not going to hold our annual report up for the auditing. Last year, we published it without the audit. A lot of counties do that, and we're going to do that. We need to get this out to the selectmen again for them to have. They can thumb through it, read whatever department they're interested in, look at the bottom line in our budget. So we're going to try to get that out in February. Other years, we've been lax, and I am guilty as well as anybody else in getting the commissioner's report in. This year, we'll have it in by the 31st of January. And it'll be ready to go to the printers. Okay. Annual evaluations. There are some departments that are not evaluating their people. And I would hope that our goal for next year is that we evaluate every county employee that works here in the complex. I would request that we review that form so that it can be done across the board. And that I'm suggesting now that 2 people do the evaluation, because sometimes there's a personality conflict between the supervisor and their employee. So I want that supervisor, I want it to go another level so that 2 people look at that evaluation. And that goes back to military. We've done that in the military, and I also did it in the previous job that I worked in. But we need to be looking at evaluations. When somebody comes up with a complaint that we have to act on, the first thing we're going to do is ask for, what is the last evaluation? When was it done last? Was it done within the last 6 months? Or was it done 2 years ago? Or was it never done? And we've had that happen. And I want that person who's evaluated to sign off saying, yes, I have seen it. I may not agree with it, but I have at least seen my evaluation, so I know